Welcome everybody to another episode of PinTech Live. We're gonna start very soon, so get comfy. Get ready to get your learn on. Hello, edible bird. Welcome. Hello, pinball magician. Welcome in. There will be so much hydration. Hello! Look at this up remote group. Alright, I think we're gonna start though.
Oh, no, don't do that. You can't catch me being comfortable now. Howdy, y'all. Hello, everyone on the internet.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of PinTech Live. Today we're going to start with some awesome tips on setting up a new Stern Pinball machine. We have a Rush Pro we need to set up in the studio, so Kyle's going to take advantage of this moment and give us some tips on how he sets up games when he does 35 of them all at once in one day at a pinball show. He's learned a lot of tips and tricks of the trade, I'd say.
No, I wouldn't be able to set the games up for the pinball shows if I hadn't have set up like thousands of games before the pinball shows.
True.
Sure. That's gnarly. In the techniques we would end up using for setting up a bunch of games at one time would be very different than what we're doing now, but we'll go over some of that stuff. How's it going, Internet? What's up?
Yeah, for sure. And Kyle, did you put it in a box
It's
so
not
we
in a
can see
box.
the full experience?
Nope.
No.
Don't get
So
no.
just
Don't get the
imagine
full
there's a box
experience.
in it, and he'll talk about that too.
Yes, we'll kind of when we wheel it in, I'll show you. We'll talk about exactly how and what and why and where and when and et cetera, et cetera. So, how's it going, Emoto?
It's good.
Oh,
It's
that
good.
camera's on. Hi, camera. I'm trying to see. I'm like looking at that camera, and
Oh,
then I'm
no.
seeing my face, and I'm all sideways.
And the code for today is not that. The code is PT-new game. If you're looking for that free domestic shipping for orders over $99 or $10 off your international shipping for orders over $99, code's right there.
Mr.
All right.
Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf and I were coming up with some good PinTech codes that we probably can't actually use, but they would be really, really fun. Emoto's like, don't say them. Well, no,
I'm gonna
okay.
hide.
You know, Keith McTeeth is kind of a meme. You know, the dude on Game Show. You could probably meme that guy pretty good. So we got a couple like, you know, PT-help Keith McTeeth ran off to Mexico with my wife kind of like stuff. It was stupid. It's not really funny, but we thought it was funny.
You're in the top screen over there. It looks like you're flying on the owl.
Oh. I'd love to fly on an owl. That would be pretty cool. Anyways, I guess we can get started.
This game. Oh, Kyle, and just a reminder, I'm gonna drop off at 3:30 for a few minutes, and we'll be back.
3:30? That seems later than normal.
No, same time.
Oh.
3:30, 3:25.
Oh, okay. That's fine. You're excused.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you.
let's set up a game then, I suppose.
Hello, Sparky.
Let's get it.
We do not know about when and where toppers are coming from for Stern, but it will be cool to see.
It will. A few things. I actually didn't set this all the way, but all the way.
Wheeling
But
it in.
ooh, we got a game. Okay, let's give ourselves. Actually, crap. Can you zoom out a little bit?
He's stuck.
What do we got? No, I'm just trying to see like. Okay, I screwed up. Hold on. Okay, reframe this just a teeny bit. Let's actually move this game out of the way.
This is part of the process.
It is. It's finding
Step
the
one,
right.
clear room for your game.
That is that.
in your game room.
Actually, that is a very valid.
Make sure
Right.
you have enough room to set up your game.
Far enough away from the so you can actually see it all through the so, sucker back. Okay, can you kind of
Oh
see?
yeah, bend your knees. Don't
Aaron?
forget to bend your knees.
Yes.
Less legs. Oh, less legs, more back. Bend your back. Bend your knees. Touch your toes.
Okay, so this is kind of how your game would be if you got it out of the box. Really quick, I'm going to try to figure out where the other leg bolts are. I'm hoping they are in the
Step 2, have your leg bolts and legs prepared on the side.
if your game was just coming out of a box, you would have all of this stuff kind of available. It would be a bit easier to get to. But you know, if you needed the tips for getting out of the box, the stuff you need to get out of a box or a box cutter, you need a pair of cutters or a scissor if you don't have any flush cutters. So that you can snap it off the pallet, and you can also cut it out of the box. Don't pull it out of the box. If you really want to save the box, just tape the other side in. It saves you a lot of time. It also saves your back. But this is exactly-ish how it would be once you got out of the box, right? Legs would be separate. You would have your leg bolts. Where-ish. Need to just push all these tools out of the way. Aaron, our assistant today, and I were kind of going through cutting more bolts and posts out of Elvira. So it was a mess of tools that we were using. Let me put the big bolt out of the way. But I see, like, I've seen people like try to get the box on the pallet, yank it out of the pallet. It makes it a lot easier.
And safer.
Good. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be.
Oh, let me
You would need to do so, like the bolts, the cash box. So yank that cash box out of the game. Why isn't it closing? There, it's closing. Okay, I'll just get this out of the way too. So yeah, if this was a new game, cut it open, take it out of the box. I always like to take the staples out of the box also, because when you're like rummaging around, it really sucks when the staples cut you. Get everything out. When you cut the game open, the box open, you want to do the truck this side. When the game is in the box, truck this side on only one side of the box, and that is the box. The other, the non-side. Cut. That way you can. What's up? Am I? Yep, I'm talking. Maybe we have a noise gate on. What's going on? Let's use my voice. Maybe I need to try the other transmitter if this one keeps cutting in and out. Hello, hello, hello. I can see my levels. Can you hear me now? I can hear you now. You know, remember those great Verizon commercials? Can you hear me now? Good. Can you hear me now? Good. That was a great marketing campaign.
Okay.
That might have been
Yeah, maybe it was just a loose connector.
Okay. When you cut the game out of the box, things are positioned in the corner here as they would be in the box in cardboard sleeves. So you can yank those out. Before I set up a game, I always like to set the level.
All right, how's that sound?
Or the pitches on the legs also. Levels are kind of level on my butt. Okay, I think we're good. So yeah, layout, our front legs. I like to take the front legs, and one thing I do like to do when I'm setting up a game is even with the front legs, give them a teeny bit of, I'm going to take these hardwood floor sliders off. I like to, whatever. I don't know if this came out of a bar or if it came out of a house, but either way. When I take a new game out of a box, I like to give you like a little on the front. Uh-oh, it's cut again. Okay, here, check this out. Man, this is going so smooth. We haven't had audio issues in a while.
Stand by.
That's right. There we go. In and out, in and out. Hello. Look at those levels go in the bottom. Where's the microphone?
Keep talking.
Okay,
Keep talking.
yeah. I tried switching, but they don't seem to be making a difference. The other one didn't work. This one does kind of work. I'm watching what Emoto's doing. Okay now. Yeah, hopefully. Maybe this microphone's going bad, like the actual mic? I don't know.
Could. I'm just gonna remove this. Yeah.
Someone said okay now
going.
and then said nope, cutting. Should I just go get the snowball mic thing or the Yeti mic?
Hold on, that might have fixed it.
What was it?
I think on a different layer, this layer, not this one, weirdly enough, it had a noise gate.
Oh, that's
embedded in
weird.
it.
Okay, so
Hello, Daniel.
hello. I'm gonna keep talking a little bit.
Defy Gravity's like, yeah, go get that other mic.
Yeah, it could be the internet. South Carolina is known for having the best internet and best infrastructure of all time.
I was watching Carl. He was playing Godzilla for Pin Clash
Yeah.
practice last night, and his Twitch was chopping. Like,
Really?
we would just lose a second of him, and it was like this weird glitch in the matrix the whole time.
People were saying your mic was fine, but mine was screwed up. So
It
far,
was your mic. It wasn't my mic.
or not. Do something. Oh, here, let me set up this camera
Thanks,
too.
y'all.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, can you roll the game back out of the shot and start from the beginning?
We're not doing that.
Oh, okay.
If you want to know how to take a game out of a box, there's a million videos. I'll take the short one. Cut it open. Truck this side only as the bottom. That's the side you want to cut it out of. The legs are stored right here in the box. So when you cut them open, you can grab those legs. Sometimes when the box is open from the top, I'll pull the legs from the top, throw all the foam out of the way, blah, blah, blah. The next thing you need to do is retrieve, well, the leg bolts are installed. Actually, wait. Now it's like I've done this a bazillion times, but I'm second guessing myself. I'm pretty sure, no, the leg bolts are inside of the game. So you can take the leg bolts out, all the sides, get them ready. When I do the front legs, I like to bring them out just a teeny bit. The only reason I do this is because sometimes over a bazillion years, like if a game is, I lied, it's still doing it.
This is the gayest game ever made.
That is true. It's still happening. Should I go try another microphone?
I'm listening.
The problem is if we get another microphone, we might hear background noise as of you. Why is everything going to hell? The last couple. Oh, you're not bad luck. I'm hearing you okay.
I don't hear it.
It's still happening.
I'm listening to it now, and I don't hear the clipping anymore.
But there's two people. Kyle's voice randomly cuts out. Let me try.
Maybe it's a Twitch thing.
I tried restarting the receiver. Yes, it's cutting voice. I've not heard a moto cut out. So it sounds like it's definitely my microphones. All right, I'm gonna go try to find another microphone, and we are going to do this live. The fun part of trying to do audio stuff live is it's annoying.
Do I have to get new microphones finally? They lasted us for a good 2.5 years. I don't wanna. Yeah, maybe his wire was just kept slightly unplugging from the.
I don't know. There's another microphone that works like way worse.
I know. Don't. Yeah, that's trash.
That one sucks. Let's try it
It might be time.
let's do the emergency way.
Time for a new laugh.
Oh crap. No. Yeah, you want to be the boom mic person?
Oh yeah, Mr. J. Crane. That would be awesome. Let me know.
I'm gonna try plugging this in with a microphone or a USB extender, and and we'll see what we can get.
What if it was just us talking that way? We were only sent certain words. You know, right? Am I out now? You like that? That was my acting, like my mic was dropped out. Can call me Kyle Caution.
No.
2.0.
No.
Pocket sized. No, Defy Gravity, don't feel bad. We want the audio to be super clean. We're glad y'all are bringing it up.
Yeah.
It's all part of the live experience.
If you're not here, I think the whole point of this is to listen to us talk, so.
Did you feed the mic after midnight? Can you feel the mic and the air?
You get to see me on my computer. I love having Aaron on the camera.
Yes, we have a great camera operator today. Thank you, Aaron Sweeney.
Give her whole name away?
Full behind the scenes. Yeah.
You're doxing
and her
people
phone
now.
number is 555-867-5309. Call her for a good time.
Yeah. Oh, her name is also Jenny.
Jenny.
Why do I not see the microphone I just plugged in as well? What is going on? Why does everything suck? Oh, holy crap. Because
it's not plugged in.
a giant idiot destroyed this cable. Ugh. This is why we can't have nice things.
Is it a 6'7" giant?
No. I don't usually tend to try and break things, but I don't think there's any... Oh, wait. No, it is on. Okay. So now... See, it's not coming up as a source.
Hold on. Let me fix this.
Did I do an audio... Maybe I didn't do the right audio... I did an audio input? Yeah, duh.
Yeti. Plug it in.
Well, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it straight into the computer and not into the hub. So I'm going to kill a camera, and the camera we are going to kill is...
Wild Man.
We're going to kill the handheld camera.
Welcome to PinTech Live Troubleshooting Stream Edition.
Live streaming, troubleshooting live. Okay, we'll do that. And now it's going to be plugged in through an extender into the computer.
Thanks for the update, Mr. J. Crane. Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, there it goes. No, there it goes. There it goes. It just came up.
Timing because
No, you know what it was doing, Emoto? It wasn't coming up.
Yeah, it was taking it from me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I see.
It was Zoom stole the microphone, so now we should...
No, you made me small and I disappeared.
Sorry.
You could do a whole show on how to set up an OBS stream. No, not us. Someone else do it and we'll attend that class.
Yeah. Okay.
You
now...
can do it, Chuck. We want to see. Alright, I will be right back.
Why are you being right back?
Like my wake-up alarm. I know, me too. It gave me so much anxiety right there. Alright, see you in a second.
Oh, I thought you said... Oh, you... Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what time it was. I'm all confused. Okay, so what's up, Internet? I don't think we're going to do anything pinball related today. You guys just get to sit here for 2 hours with me screwing off. Okay, so can y'all hear me? I think now just this mic is on. So you guys can hear me. We're all good, right? Can you guys say like thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways, what's up? While I sit here and drink my de-stressor. Yes, good. How good? How about making this an ASMR stream now? I'll talk really quiet into the microphone. Oh look, I'm clipping still. Yes, yes. So much better. Stop it. Yes, yes. LOL. Okay, cool. I got a billion yeses and LOLs. All right, here, we're going to do this stream my way now. What's up, everybody? What did y'all do this last weekend? Anything cool? Anything fun? ASMR tech. Oh, God, no. We're going to get delisted from YouTube. What did I do this weekend? Nothing. All right, what about you guys? I have to get close to read now. Okay. And Moto leaves, sound works perfect. Yeah, well, you know. It's because you're demanding such a high quality production.
Bad Cats and Police Scores.
Nice. Those are 3 great games. Worked on an OBS stream setup all weekend. Yeah, Moto, I see. I need it. Yeah, OBS is hard. Streaming is hard. It's not easy. Purchased a pinball game, Defy Gravity says. That's a good word. Delivered an Ep124 you sold to a friend. That's also nice. Nice. Oh, Daniel went to go see WRC. That's fun. WRC is a really fun form of racing. We love, I love rally. It's a good time. Okay, let's get back to putting this thing together. It'll feel good once we have it together. And there's a few tips. We'll ignore the box thing. I've tried talking about that like 3 times. Let's just pretend like that was perfect information every time. It might be because I'm really tall, but I do like to bring the front leg levelers out just a teeny bit. Just a teeny bit helps the nut be more accessible when it's on like plush carpet, perhaps. Putting the front out a teeny bit also helps when a game gets really, really ancient and the leg leveler punches through, the actual bolt punches through the bottom, and you can't like, you know, or things rust up, you can't actually grab onto the square bit right here. I don't know. I've had to wrestle with legs too many times. I've sold a ton of pinball games to people who never move them. I like to set that up for the next guy pretty okay. So we'll bring the front leg out just a teeny bit. And we always want to install the front legs first, and you'll see why. It makes a lot of sense as things progress. So I'll identify 2 legs, make them into the front. And this is part of what I was saying too, of we'll kind of like level the game before we even get it up. I'm really lazy when it comes to leveling a game. I don't like to spend a lot of time sitting there with a level and splitting hairs if it's like, you know, the 1/4 of a degree off to the left. And, you know, as soon as you shove the game or give it a good, you know, little bit of English and it slides around the floor, it might not be perfect anymore anyways. I like to get it good enough. Some games do really require like a perfect level, and there's a few ways that I like to do that. You know, tools mostly, using a bubble level or a digital level. The phone apps are okay. They're not perfect, but they also help you get into a better ballpark than, you know, just winging it, I suppose. But we'll go over that a little bit. But you can kind of get yourself in the ballpark at least by working the leg levelers before you put the game up on its back, on its feet. When I used to work at the shop, you know, we had all these pinball carts, and it's impossible to get a pinball cart underneath a modern Stern game unless you like really jack the front legs up. So, you know, when I was doing this at work, I would have like a system. I think it was like, hold on. Actually, I would always count the amount of threads above the rib nut. Let's look at a leg really quick, and I can show you what I mean. Get them on tight. I like to use like a driver, like an impact driver, when I have to do a lot of games. Be careful. If you get the bolt in there like ever so slightly angled, you can strip leg plates and such. It's always a good idea, even if you're using power, to start off by hand before you go and use the that is best practice. The other thing would be to get them tight, like actually really tight. A lot of times when we're at like a pinball show or when I go over to people's houses, like I notice that their games wobble a little bit more than I'm comfortable with, and that's generally because people don't like actually tighten their leg bolts very much. Like get it on there, get your wrench on the leg, and really give it a good. You will feel it get to a point where it's like, yes, that is solid. A better tightened leg means a less wobbly game, and it's just better overall for everything. Let's look at the anatomy of a leg really quick. The mic's over here, so I don't know. I hope y'all can hear me when I am not looking at the microphone. But we've got leg. This is the nut. It's a riv nut. It's a riveted nut through the leg. You've got the leg leveler, and then you've got your lock nut or your stop nut. The way I like to do it to try to balance a game before we get it up on its legs is to count the amount of threads sticking up above the riv nut. That'll help you at least get relatively even, right, without needing a measuring tool or something like that. Well, how do you do that? Use your fingernail. So I like to have it like maybe 9 to 10 threads sticking up, and that'll generally put the game like a little more than the 6.5 or whatever degrees, 6.5 to 7 degrees. So what you do is like kind of get it set. I'll bring the lock nut down a bit, and then just drag your fingernail down and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, stick it up a teeny bit more. But the goal is like we can always mess with the pitch in the level later, but let's try to get in a ballpark, right? So we do want to set up our rear legs for success. That is important. Because the method I'm going to show you involves, is like what I call the one-man method, or one-person method. When you go up and like do a pinball show setup or something like that, like you can't be on the setup team unless you can like actually set up a game by yourself, right? So like in California Extreme, like when the people were setting up games, like you need to be able to do it yourself. And it's not hard. It involves a little bit of prep and some clever body mechanics, but these are the things I learned doing that. Okay. I remember one year, like, I think it was 2016. No, it was 2017, because we had Iron Maiden and Deadpool. I think it was like right before Christmas, we'd sold like 12 games. So I was instructed to set up 12 games like the week before Christmas or something like that. And that was like right first when we became a Stern distributor, like or maybe like a year and a half after. And that's when we started selling a lot of games. So I got quite good at setting up games at that point. But these are all, when we were in the shop, there's totally different ways to set up games. In the shop, I like to use the dolly method. We would have the game would be up on its back, and then I'd have my pinball cart, like I used to move Elvira. You can see it in the shot over there. And then I had an old leg. Chris and I had these old legs, and we cut them down. And those legs would be the exact width of the inside diameter of this pinball cabinet. So, and it was at a 90-degree angle, right? So what you could do is you could grab your pinball cart, push it up, and then put that leg piece on it. Then you could grab the cart and pull the whole thing down. When it would start moving down, the cart would catch it on that 90-degree angle there. You could bring it down, set it on the floor, hit it up on the cart, and then attach the legs. That's easy. That also requires special tools and special, preparation things might not have. Hopefully at home you will have all of this stuff. I like to use my mag liner for this step. The reason why I like the mag liner, I learned this from my friend TJ, is this keeps the back of the game off the floor. So if you intend to do this without a stool to hold the game or something like that, this helps you, and it saves your back a bit by not having to reach all the way down. So at this point we have very tight front legs. They have an even spacing, just a couple threads here to lift it like totally off the ground. I've got my mag liner here in position. Any dolly will do, but I have this wonderful tool. At this point, we can grab our front legs, right? And we are going to kick it out and set it down. And what we have here is, like I said, it's like 6, 8, 10, I don't know, I can't see, inches off the floor. And this is super helpful. I'm going to, at this point, rip this plastic stuff off. If this was a brand new pinball game, like straight out of the Stern box, since we are opening the Stern game, it would have a strap, a green cinch strap running from the back to the front, and that holds the head to the game. The reason I'm taking this off is it may interfere with part of my method. It's going to be a little ugly, but it'll make sense in just a second. What I like to do at this point, so we're going to get our leg bolts. And what we're going to do is we're going to put one leg bolt at the end of the leg here, right? Put it on the head. The back bit of the leg, right? If we look at the bottom of a pinball leg, it's almost a square, but we have this bit of an overhang here when we look down, right? This helps the leg hold on. This part's hilarious. When I'm setting up a game all by myself and there is someone within the vicinity, their first reaction to me lifting the game up is to immediately reach for the legs, because you lift it up and everything starts to tilt that way. This holds the legs in place. And this is just setting us up for success, right? I am going to keep, generally at this point I'll take the two legs and just kind of stick them in the head bolt spots right here. Don't thread them in because we need to get them immediately. But at this point it's easy. We're going to use our hip. We're going to lift the game up, push the cart out of the way, and then rest the game on your hip, your leg, your thigh, wherever. So we'll go down. This part is the part that hurts. I'm tall, body mechanics are hard, but it's whatever. I like to grab it from the neck here, grab it here, and what we'll do is go 1, 2, 3. Nothing moves. You can lift it up really far, and these legs stay exactly where they're supposed to be. We leave one leg bolt in the leg because we can hold the leg nicely, screw it in just like that. One thing that I like to tell people too, if, for whatever reason, like if you were to need to put the game down, you can do it on 3 legs. The game will stay in place with 3 legs. Obviously, it will be unstable to one side, so you do want to watch it. But if you had one screw in and maybe one fell down, and you're like, "Oh crap! What am I going to do? I'm screwed." No, just be very gentle. There's only one leg bolt on the back. It totally stands on 3 legs for you to maybe bend over, grab it, get a friend, call for help, whatever. Don't rely on that, but it is something that is possible. Again, the one-man method, the one-person method, it definitely works better with a power tool. You can get this done a lot quicker than sitting here and wrenching. But when you have the game like this, I mean, it is safe. It's not going to move anywhere. There's a lot of pressure on those front legs, so it wants to stay. This isn't shaggy carpet at all. It's very smooth, hard, packed carpet. Generally, things will want to slide on that, but this is okay. Use your pockets as places to hold things. Don't rest tools on the game. They go flying. Grab our second leg. Get that thing threaded in slightly. Grab the other leg bolt. Get it in there slightly. You don't want to tighten the bolts down with the game on the floor. If you were to maybe just get 1 or 2, threads in on the leg once it's, and you set it on the floor, they can, whoops, I have the wrench backwards. They might not tighten down right. Having it upright like this
ensures that they go in straight and easy. I don't think this leg plate wants to thread. There it goes. You end up putting a lot of, I guess what I'm trying to say is you put a lot of pressure on the bolt, and when you're trying to tighten it and the leg is trying to actually hold itself up by pressing up against the bolt, that is not ideal. So try to keep all the pressure off of those bolts while you're tightening them down. But that is kind of how you can like solo set a game up without any special tools or power tools or anything like that. This method obviously works if you don't have a dolly. That's in enough. I'm gonna get it kind of tightened down. I think this leg plate might be damaged. This is a used game. I don't know where the heck it came from. It just showed up here one day and then someone said, oh, you can set it up. Okay. But it has been put together and maybe has not been treated perfectly. But sometimes leg plates do kind of get a little funky. Get these nice and tight. So this method is like a lot easier and more simpler to do on a Stern Spike 2 game because these games don't weigh anything. They're super light. It makes it super easy to do this stuff. Older games like these, classic Valley games or something like that. This method's also super easy to do this on because the head is separate, so you can remove another 80-ish pounds from the game, right? Especially those games with the transformers in the head, you can save a ton of weight. WPC games, older Stern games, this is a little harder just because those games are like 80 plus 100, maybe 80 or 100 pounds heavier. Maybe not 100 pounds, maybe like only wide body games, but EMs are a little heavy, but again, when you can separate, almost 100 pounds, it's totally viable. Jersey Jack games are harder to do this with because they just weigh so dang much. Chicago gaming games as well, they are just as heavy as a WPC game. It is tough. If you, instead of using the hip method, one thing you could try doing is the stool method. If you have a stool that is high enough, once you have those front legs on and you have the game on its butt on the mag liner, you could pick it up, rest it on your hip. Even with those super heavy games where you might not want to balance it, rest it on your hip, move the stool underneath, and let the stool hold it while you position your goods and tools and get ready to go. But the things to take away from that, just set yourself up for success because that is what actually helps you out. When you don't have to reach or find or look for things, it's all right there. So, that being said, give it a shot. Setting up a pinball game is not hard. Let's do the rest of this stuff too, so you can kind of see the other things we might have to go through when we're setting up a fresh game. At this point, we need to open the door. So we will, once the game is on all four of its legs, we'll grab our flush cutters and snip. The thing will go flying, watch your eyes. We'll grab our cutters and we will cut the keys off of the shooter rod. There are two sets of keys, one's for the front door, one's for the back. The one for the back says H95, the one for the front door will say F something. All of the goodies are inside the cash box, so we can take the cash box out and pull the goodies out. Because what we would need are these head bolts. And they are going to be in a small paper envelope inside that bag. And then you will drop them and lose the washer and say, dang it. Let's get these up. You can lift the head. Make sure you keep all your wires in place. Don't pinch them. And then we can install the bolts through the back of the head. If you are a security-minded person and you want no one to be able to see your bolts, you can install them inside the head. But anyway, you don't need it. We'll tighten these things down. Sometimes you do need to do a little bit of finagling to get these things in. I won't be able to show you on the camera, but the head will shift a few degrees. And if you look through these holes, you can see that's not very lined up at all. But if I move it just a teeny bit, that's very lined up. So if you're having a little trouble, look through the hole, they'll go in nice and smooth. These don't need to be mega tight. These can sit in there and be, I mean, you tighten them, don't make them just finger tight, but even if I did just leave them finger tight, the head's not going anywhere. At this point, everything is held together rather secure, but you know, if you're playing pinball the way it's supposed to be played, the game gets a little physical. We don't want the head bouncing around, so give them a little bit of tautness. We'll go get all of our packing material here out of the way. At this point, once the game is up on its back and stuff, this is a good point to grab all of the foam that comes in the Stern box and throw it in the box, or get it ready for disposal. Get my mag line. This is the world's greatest tool. I like them so much I have two. One for the house and one for my pinball tools. They're so dang light you can just throw them around the floor. The other things that are going to be in the cash box inside the baggie are going to be pinballs, the power cord, some documentation, and the plumb bob. Power cord's pretty simple. Plug it in. Hopefully everyone can manage that. There we go. I'm going to even put it in the P strap. I'm going to read the chat. Use a stool on the back. Yes, the stool we already talked about. The step ladder technique. That's a good one, Steve. My back won't allow me to do most of the things I'm doing, but I'll do it for the camera. Yeah, the wind chimes. Sorry. Plumb bob is absolutely optional. Steve, what's up, man? Yeah, the multi-morphic games are definitely made from a ultra-heavy material. They're insanely heavy, but they're great. Louis, good day. Howdy. Thanks for showing up. We're just kind of going over how to set up a game. Because we've had some people ask for some tips, or I'm the only person that can set this game up. How do I do it by myself? Those are some of the ways to do it. The next couple things we'll work on, I'm going to switch the camera because we're going to go inside. But let's pretend this was a brand new game, and since this is a very used game, it's kind of icky. The flippers are kind of black and nasty. I think this game must have come from an operated environment because that lockdown bar is really sticky too. Someone probably spilled a beer in there. Let's get this glass out of the way. Foo Fighters can hold the glass. I'll go grab that camera. Once we've got this, some games, depending on whatever game it is, it will have foam shoved in some places, right? Some of the foam bits will hold motorized devices in place. Generally, unless you're quite blind, they're hard to miss. There's big signs that say, remove foam before powering on, or something like that. So you can get in there, cut the foam out. We can lift our playfield up. What the hell? The head keys. All right, well, we'll put those back where they need to go. Yeah, so since you've already opened up the front door with your F keys, now you can take the H key, and this is the only place they live. On the hook, on the coin door. That's it. Don't put them anywhere else. Don't put them on the keychain with your keys. I hate that, because I hate coming to your house and you have lost your pinball keys, and losing your pinball keys also meant you lost the back keys. Leave them in here. It's really easy to pick out one lock. It's annoying to have to pick out or drill multiple locks, so I really recommend everyone to keep their keys inside the game. At this point, let's bring this camera on over. I mentioned this last week when we were kind of talking about maybe doing this. Which camera is it? Let's play the camera log. Oh god, look. Can you demonstrate how to tear down 17 games, then move them out of the basement into a moving truck?
No, my body is not made for that anymore. My knee is actually on fire now, and all I did was lift one game up. Are most head keys the same from eras, from most eras? No. I'll give you one secret. Every single modern Stern game uses the same head key, but a lot of games, other games do not. Actually, a lot of modern pinball games use the same head key. It's just I think it's the most available one from a very popular amusement parts supplier based in Chicago that some of you may know. But the plumb bob, this is an important bit. If you just kind of throw the plumb bob in there, you might run into constant tilt situations. Here, let's turn on the ring light here. Does that help? Kind of. Ugh. So we get in here, thread the plumb bob up onto the wire, loosen that thumb screw a little bit, and tighten it. I like a loose tilt. I don't do tight tilt. That's boring. I don't like pinball like that. But look at this ring, right? A plumb bob is just a switch. You've got one, let's just call it your row coming in here and your column coming out here. When this touches this, it creates contact, it closes a switch, tilts the game. Sometimes when these things are assembled in the factory, again, they don't install plumb bobs in the factory, so there's no fault. But sometimes these things are a little cattywampus or something. They're a little bent or something like that. And if you put the plumb bob in, you're going to have 3 or 4 millimeters on one side and almost no millimeters on the other side, and a very little bit of a jolt will cause a warning or a tilt. One thing, I can kind of do this by feel now, but I always recommend when you get a new game to open it up, check everything out, right? Tighten things, make sure things look as right as you can imagine them to be. But when you're setting up the plumb bob, feel, right? Make sure it feels centered in the ring. Raise the ring, lower the ring, do whatever you want. I like to keep my games quite playable and not really tight, so I like to kind of raise the ring up and keep the plumb bob nice and low. And that gives me a enjoyable playing experience. But this is an important thing because, again, sometimes they'll be really tight and pushed close to one side, another side. And that's just a good small adjustment to make. At this point, once you've verified everything looks okay to play, I like to shove all my documentation back inside into the coin box. And the next step would be to install the balls, power the game on, and play. I'll switch cameras here. What kind of camera is that? We have it's a Razer webcam that we use on the stands, and then we've got some cheap Sony Handycam that we use for the better image quality. Throw the plumb bob thing right in the trash. I agree with you. Put the cash box in. I don't like putting the clip on the cash box because it just puts something in the way between me trying to get the cash box out and stuff. Let's do a quick look over on this used Rush. That is an extremely blown out flipper. That is a mildly blown out flipper. This one is about as blown out as its lower counterpart. That's done from where, right? The game is obviously played a lot. Let me clean my hands and then we'll take a look at some things. You can see how we can kind of tell this is a well-played game. Not a worn-out game, just a well-played game. These things are fixable. Right, of course, well, if this was my game and I just purchased this, the first thing I would do is rebuild the flippers if I saw them in this state. But let's, what was I going to do? Oh, I was going to change cameras here, really quick, just so you don't have to zoom in. What's up, Paula? Welcome. I'll just carry this camera over a little bit. Actually, I'll just lift it up. Do you see all that dust on the flipper? Actually, hold on. This is the better way to show off said dust. Or is there like a gross towel or something? There's not really any paper towels anywhere. Oh, okay. Thank you, Aaron. My assistant will go and get us a paper towel. Why, thank you. All right, take a look at this. Actually, why am I like picking up the camera? Check this out. Work smarter, not harder. Who likes working hard? Nobody. We can turn the camera. All right, sweet. We can turn off the light. It's kind of noxious. And like just like these, this is like something I noticed right when I opened the game. That flipper link is now gray and not black. That's just, you know, that's from use. That is dust. That is electromechanical coiled dust. That's one way you can tell a game is definitely not new, and also definitely has been used with the flipper components installed for quite some time. And that's fine. It's meant to be played. But what I did notice, sorry, bumped the camera there. Look at all that slop. Got a ton of slop between the crank block and the link. That's going to be a really, really sad flipper. That's a sad flipper because it has to take up so much slop before it's going to start moving. It's interesting though. I mean, it's definitely got an oval hole. For fun's sake, we could take that apart and explore, but that's bad, right? And that's how you want. Oh crap! You can barely see that. That's one way you want to check your flipper components, right? We want to move the crank block away from its resting block. We want to pin the plunger, and then we want to wiggle. And that's the free play we're looking for. Now, sometimes you might not want to hold the link like that because we want to see if there's play in the link as well. With modern Stern games, most of the play ends up being here. You don't get as much link play, but we can check for that by kind of holding this solid and trying to wiggle the link. Got a little bit there, but not too much. The left side flipper is just a little bit better, marginally better.
Flipper fluid is low.
It is. Got to change that flipper fluid. This one's not nearly as bad. That one's really bad. And the upper right flipper is equally worn out. Now the fun thing is actually we might play this game and it might just play just fine. But when you see that, that's definitely about time for a flipper rebuild. Someone put cap screws in there, so someone's been into this game before. But again, it looks like it's been operated. I don't think this came from a home. And that's one thing we can do. Let's just power it up and let's just take a look. Flipper bearings, definitely. I am not tasting that. I'm not going to taste that. I don't want to get all the cancer. But it is clean. It's a nice game. Let's find something to power it on with. We'll pull the interlock switch out. I'm going to steal Foo Fighters' electricity. Ugh. And let there be juice. And then we'll wait for it to boot up. Get this camera out of the way. Let's see if we can look at the statistics and see. Let's look and see how many games it has. Again, that doesn't matter, right? As we kind of looked with when we looked at my Deadpool, that was probably one of the better episodes. I feel like information-wise that we've learned. So we opened up my Deadpool when I brought it back from the arcade, and it had over 20-something thousand games played on it, and it looked basically brand new. We had a spinner that was kind of screwed up. We had some of these rubber lane protectors kind of bashed in, but otherwise it wasn't that bad. Let's
Hey,
see.
Hoser, put in a loony.
Huh. Well, it looks like someone might have reset the high scores at least, because these are all basic, but if we look at the audits. Did someone like totally wipe this thing? Oh, no, there we go. Lifetime stuff. It's been played about 4,000 times. That seems about normal-ish, right? For the flippers. We're not looking at shooter lanes. We don't talk about shooter lanes here because that's pseudoscience. It looks like someone cleared all the audits and stuff. I hope that the flipper flips ones are held forever. I might actually call in a favor and make that happen because I find that curious. Yep, that's another way to tell that game's definitely been on location. It's been on for 3,015 hours. And again, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Did I pass by the flipper? I think I did, because I think it's a standard audit. Yeah, dang it.
Yeah.
I love seeing how many flips a game has done. But yeah, so again, but it's also a beautiful game. It looks fantastic still. Looking at the playfield and the shape of everything, it's still a very handsome game. But I guess actually one thing we could do is, even with the flippers that crappy, and I'll bring this camera back over one more time. Let's just flip, and let's see how strong they are, out of curiosity. That's one thing is like, if you had a, the audits are clear, 2,000 off the asking price, I support that. The lifetime plays, all that information is showed underneath like the current audit. If that makes sense. A handsome game, yes. It is, it's in great shape. On these modern Stern games, they don't suffer from the same like awfulness when the flippers wear out such as they do, or like as we saw. On like a Williams game of that era, those things, you'll feel that a whole lot more. God, I suck at like every shot that the right flipper is needed on this game. That sure made that fine. To be honest, it feels just as snappy as the other flipper does, which is substantially better than the one we were just messing with. Oh, and you guys really couldn't see those shots. So there is like a version that can be reset, like lifetime carries over from like forever. You know, the current plays can be reset, but those are also added into the lifetime total, if that makes sense. Viking is cool. Viking is the best game. That's my favorite. But it's not bad. I mean, I just hit like a pretty screaming combo shot with the two worn-out flippers in the game. So, yeah, you know, not so bad. But I guess we could play it this way. I don't know. Let's see if we can find anything wrong with this game, I guess. Let's see if we can find anything broken. I mean, one thing that you want to do, you know, when you get a game is just take a look-see, make sure all the switches work, the pop bumpers work, this scoop system works. You know, running a quick test of rollovers using the ball, right? We always want to use the ball to check those switches. All those guys work. That guy works. That guy works. Spinner totally works. Opto works up there. That ball gate works. All right, I mean, everything seems fine to me. We do a quick device test. You know, one thing, we don't go over like how games really work too much, I guess. How some of these test menus work in some games. I'm gonna try to, I don't know, how can I show the screen and the game at the same time? I mean, I guess kind of just like this, the way we were doing it. hell, whatever, that's fine. So that we were just in the switch test mode. Active switches will show you every switch that's currently closed on the game. Coils we can go and test. It's as simple as pushing left and then hitting, or right and then hitting enter, right? You can test every single driver in the game as long as it's used. And this is just a quick way to, kind of, the magnet one is kind of hard to hear, but you can hear the magnet fire up. I can hear it. We can also watch the magnet. Stole the ball from you. Otherwise, then it's like this is a perfectly fine game and we should play it. The lamps, like in an older game, you'd want to check your lamps, right? But with these modern Stern games, they're all on LED circuit boards and they never, TM, never go bad. I've only seen one or two go bad, but that was caused from physical damage, not because it wore out. So, yeah. It's a fine game. Even with worn out looking flippers, this thing's totally fine to play. Or at least Dr. Kyle says it's totally fine to play. What time is it? How long have we been talking for?
4:08.
Wow, we still have a whole freaking hour. The sounds are really just lacking in Rush.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, no, definitely not. The sounds in Rush are fantastic. Any tips on how to keep the lamp sockets working under the slings? No, it's unfortunately just the reality of bayonet-based sockets. They just kind of suck. They're just annoying. Unfortunately, it's kind of like the best option, but also the worst option at the same time. A lot of the lamps that I see going out are being flickery and annoying on modern Stern games are underneath the inlanes here. Sometimes, the way I fixed it on my Deadpool was I removed the lamp socket from underneath the game and I got some pliers and I squeezed the lamp socket ever so slightly and gave it a tighter connection against, it just tightened everything up. There was not as much wiggling at that point and that helped. But yeah, unfortunately that's kind of just the nature of those style sockets. Really quickly just set the game up how I would set it up at home. Adjustments, standard adjustments. We're going to do 10 letters, free play. Oops. When I'm at home, I honestly like to turn this setting off. High score reset. It's annoying. It's something funny with non-pinball people when you sell a game to a family that were super excited to get a game and then they're upset that that getaway that they just bought, the highest score is by someone called SSR and you have no idea, I didn't put that there. How do you reset the high scores? Well, you do this. And it's oh, well, it's still there. Well, yeah, those are default high scores. They're in every game. But when a family starts getting good at their game or someone starts getting good at their game, then you get those calls also where it's all of my high scores are gone. There must be something wrong with the game. You can resolve that by putting the high score to date reset down to 0. Everyone can thank me for the credit of this going down by 100 because I complained enough. I'm going to say that every time we look at this on this show. It used to go down by 10 and that would take forever, but look at that. Now the game's high scores will never reset. On location, obviously you want them to reset. It gives people incentive to keep coming and playing the game. It's on free play. I like to turn the knocker down because it annoys me. And then the game restart, wait, no. Oh, well that one changes on free play, I think. There's a bunch of settings for Insider that I'm not familiar with. Allow left and start to end game on free play only. So when the game's in free play, you can hold the left flipper button and start button to turn the game off and get it back into attract mode. But those are things that I like to turn on, when I have a game at home.
This is not a wired connection. And I don't really feel like getting it on the internet right now. But yeah, you know, there's how you set up a game, how you kind of do that. Take a look-see inside the game, etc. You reset the scores before every season. Ah, okay. I like that, Chuck. That's a good one. I need to hydrate with something, but I don't have any beer. I had a bubbly water, and now I have an actual non-bubbly water. So here, you can have a bottled water. I don't like bottled water, but you know, plastic waste and stuff. But let me tell you, the water in Lexington, South Carolina, out of the tap tastes like absolute bottle. So that's why we drink some bottled water. I usually bring a water bottle with me. Let me just say that. Stretch. I do need to stretch, actually. I'm pretty sore. Ooh, the strawberry beer. That stuff was good. Resetting the high scores once a season at my location would not go over. So when do you reset like high scores then? Like, do you just let it naturally go, or do you reset it like once a year? Well, I'm moving this closer so I don't have to keep walking closer to the screen. I'm so blind I can't see that damn
Be careful with this because this is
a little finicky.
yeah. Because the
HDMI cord is.
it keeps going in and out.
Let's collect our breath here for just a second. I'll switch the camera back to the nice camera. Kyle will sit his butt down. Actually, let me put the glass back in, and we'll just get this game out of the way. Because if we're going to work on some more games, maybe we'll bring Elvira back into the picture. Whee! Hold the glass like this. Don't use your fingers. That's how you get fingerprints everywhere. And it's gross, and you have to clean your glass all the time.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that was like unlucky.
Yeah, well, you could definitely, the one thing that I got was how sticky
Yep.
the bottom of the lock bar was. You can hear it when you take it off. It goes. This one's not that bad, but it's stuck just a teeny bit. Whew. I'm glad to have a rush back over here. I miss this game. All right, let's. Where'd I put my water? There it is. Bring the trusty stool over here. And we'll chat for just a minute. Ah. Oh, okay. So that's interesting. Oh, sorry, now you can't see the chat.
That's okay.
You reset whenever your kids beat you. That's totally fair. What's the average game time? Pez is telling me about $15 an hour. Oh. Okay, well, I don't know. When I was working at the Pinball Museum, like our admission cost was $20 all day, $15 an hour. I mean, yeah, that's a little expensive, but also our place, it's not really that expensive, let's be honest. When you consider, I don't know what location that is, but if you imagine how many games they have in there, right? How much entertainment can you get? So if you want to break it down like for that kind of value, the average game, or what designers, what the industry did shoot for at some point, was about 3 minutes for a game. In the 90s, when Williams was making games, they wanted... Oh, I'm behind the chat window. Can you scoot the camera over?
Oh,
No, it's funny. I just noticed that.
Sorry, you can't see it from this way?
No, it's fine. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The games were for 50 cents. You should be able to play for about 3 minutes. Now, of course, like all of us are probably like slightly above average pinball players. Maybe we could play for a little more than 3 minutes, but also on a free play game, well, you know, I guess you can't quantify it that way unless you're charging $15 an hour. But like, what else can you do for $15 that you can enjoy for an hour, right? Can you go get dinner? Can you go get lunch for two for $15? No. You could buy a 6-pack of beer. That probably won't last you an hour. I mean, I guess you could go buy a movie, and that lasts an hour and a half, but that's not pinball. Movies are boring compared to pinball, right? Of course, so we want to go do that. When you think about, too, like the overhead... Paul, that's hilarious. A dime bag. You consider too, like, well, what if I had a place that cost $1,000 a month for rent, and I had $40,000 worth of like equipment and pinball games in there or something like that? I mean, $15 an hour, that's a pretty killer value to be able to try all those games. I don't know. I guess like the per hour model is a little strange to me. I've never really been to a place that charges per hour, but I don't know. It's not that bad. You have? What place is it?
Pinball posted by the hour, but then all day it was like $25.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to go in for an hour, it might be like what?
10, 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read all the chat, but my eyes are just so bad. When transporting glass, try to keep it as upright as possible until you have to install it in a pinball game. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When it's upright as possible, it is a lot harder to hit invisible corner or non-viewed corners into things to make it explode in your hands. That is true. And so one of your games, when you take the lock bar off, it just shoots out of the game. Yes, that happens. 25 cents for 3 minutes of fun. The camera girl. The camera girl is Erin from our office. She's one of the coolest people that works at Marco, and she really likes pinball a lot, and she's quite good at it. Have you won the league here ever? Not yet? She's embarrassed. She's not going to say anything. Note to self, don't drink with Kyle. Well, I'm a lightweight, so if you did drink with me, it'd be over in an hour.
It's true.
So Mark says here, our location does free play or free admission, 25 cents for classic games, 50 cents for DMD, 75 cents for early LCD. Wow, and $1, and also do super value. Huh. Well, how does that work for you? I'm curious then, because like I feel like 25 cents it's not even worth operating at that cost. And 75 cents I've always found to be a really awkward price point. Like, I guess it works since you have 25-cent games, right? Like, as an operator, I want to capture every dollar that comes to my game. So if I have a game that's 75 cents and someone puts $1 in the coin machine or something like that, well, then they have a quarter left over and they walk by it or walk away with it, right? We want every game to go, or every dollar to go in our machines. And I think, I mean, it's like, that's very benevolent, right? I really like your pricing. I like your pricing structure because that's actually quite generous in the sense. Like 50 cents for DMD games is pretty awesome. That is very good value for money. And it's obviously working for your location, but is it worth it, right? I guess maybe I'm just being greedy, but I think I've just done it long enough where like I don't know if I'd ever want to operate anything that cheap. I don't think 75 cents is dumb. I just think it's awkward and clunky. It's a weird amount of coins, especially when everything is divided into a quarter, and $1 is kind of normal for what you are paying nowadays for most games. Coin drop seems like a pain to maintain. It really isn't. You need to just get them set up right, and then they're fine. I mean, you do run into the problems of people like shoving foreign objects in, and that's annoying, but with a good location, you can kind of train one of the employees there to, deal with coin jams and how to unjam a coin mech, which is nice. But if it's an owner-operator place or like an arcade, like an actual arcade, not like a bar location, I mean, that's not that big of a deal. I don't understand why America doesn't have a dollar coin. I mean, okay, this is going to turn into a rant, so we're not going to talk about it. But we do, but who the hell uses it? I mean, like,
Trains.
Trains? Yeah, that makes sense. They should. We should have a dollar coin. It's ridiculous. Like, our currency is all screwed up. Pennies cost more to maintain and use than they are worth, and it is like a total leech on government money, which is stupid. And dollar bills and $5 bills get destroyed in circulation so much that they probably cost more to maintain that as well, right? Like, it makes more sense to use a coin that actually has value. I just think it's weird, like Americans don't perceive coins as being worth anything, and it just never caught on. I don't know why. I mean, it's obviously caught on like in the rest of the civilized world. Canada uses coins. Canada doesn't use 1 or 5 cents. Canada rounds up or down to the nearest 10 cents. Use dollars. I mean, I love being in Europe and you're like, oh, crap, I'm out of money. And then you reach into your pocket and you've got like 25 euro because you have $25 coins, right? And that would be great because here's the other thing, like pinball shouldn't cost $1 anymore. Pinball needs to cost more than $1. Let's be honest, like it's difficult. If you know a brand new Foo Fighters is a $9,000 piece of equipment, and $1 a game is I mean that takes a lot to recoup. You know, if we were to use the analogy of pinball. The amount of, you know, pinball's always kind of cost, or amusement games have always kind of cost like what a candy bar costs, right? Can you buy a Snickers for 75 cents? Can you buy a Snickers for $1? No. You know, pinball should cost $1.50, but then we run into the awkward amount of currency again, right? Like $1.50 is a weird amount of quarters to put into a game. So that's why I'm going to lobby. Pinball should be $2. And sorry, you can cry about it, but that's what it needs to be. Pay with shells. We should go back to that. I saw a kid fold up a dollar bill and try to jam it in a coin slot. That's hilarious. That's also sad. It's funny though because like people younger than me, like they don't know how to use coin operated things. Like I was at the tail end of coin operated things, and now that's just like barely a thing anymore. We never raised the price on 75-cent machines. We just didn't want to have the bad feels. The only reason we wouldn't ever price another game at 75 cents. Oh. That's fair. I mean, that's you guys are benevolent and in tune with your community who pays to play your games. I think that's fantastic. And if it's working for you, then my opinion really doesn't matter. But it's just I found it awkward, but it works, so that's awesome. I'd rather do rounding and no calculations with odd pennies. It just creates rounding errors. Yeah. Well, and then also most of the rest of the world too also like includes their like final price on the, you know, friggin' label, so you don't get surprised with the tax at the end and have weird pennies here and there. Whatever. Roller pinball. I always do the super value to get 3 games and then play. Player 3 is a split flipper with your girlfriend. That is how you play pinball. That is how you do it. You always do that. The super value really is the best way.
Maybe just be really good and get free games.
Yeah, or just keep winning those free games. You can win a free game and then you have another 2-player. Card readers, yes. I mean, card readers really are the way to go, but it is expensive, and it's not worth it for me to set up a card reader in a location where I have 2 games. Right? It's like it would cost more to maintain that, and you wouldn't make any cash. I mean, I think that's the way the industry is going to go, is cashless. And we have a lovely little QR reader right here that might assist with that one day, hopefully. Bring back rotary phones. I agree with you, my friend. Let's just go back in time. C&K remembers milk machines. Okay, that's weird. Where the hell are you from? You know, in Canada, milk comes in bags.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, in some parts of Canada.
Places.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen that. They started putting like even just regular drinks in bags as opposed to plastic. Or
It makes sense. They're easy to move around, I guess. I don't know. HMD69, first time chat. Thank you. $1.50 games. I feel like less people would throw their money in them. Well, if you want to play, I think at $1.50, yes, but as someone who was to purchase a new piece of machinery to put on location at $1 a game, if everything goes perfect, if I make every cent from every game that gets played, right? There's no split, and the game never breaks down, I never need to go do anything with it, and it just gives me money, right? Someone needs to play that game over 9,000 times for me to break even. Just even. That's not making any money. That's just literally breaking even. There's no such thing as a pinball game in 9,000 games that will not have a problem, that will never, like, no broken rubbers, no flipper rebuilds, never needs to be cleaned, never needs anything, right? So bare minimum, if I'm charging $1, it needs to be played 9,000 times-ish for me to just break even. And then every game after that is profit. If you're doing this for profit, right? That's the way you have to think about it. And it's like that. It is more and more difficult to see it as a viable way to like make money, unless you have like a really bitchin' location, right? I mean, I've had games in locations that will make me $400 or $500 a week, which are great. That's a fantastic location, but not every location is going to do that, right? Everything is always location. Yeah, and roller pinball, the same thing. 9,000 plays could take you years. If you had a really great location, maybe. But look here, consider it this way. Texas Pinball Festival was insane. There was way too many people there. It was extremely packed. Our booth was always full of people playing games. You know how many games are average on a pinball game, a brand new pinball game in our booth at a show? Is about 350 to 400. That's a weekend packed, constantly being played, from show open to show close. That's 300 to 400 games in a weekend, right? Like, that is a lot, right? And then, so you say, oh, well, what if you had less games? Well, yeah, maybe it would get played more, perhaps, but there's only so many people that can play one pinball game. And also, if I only have one piece of equipment in a location, it's probably not a very good location. It's not going to get played 300 or 400 times in a weekend, so it just doesn't hold up. It makes it hard. Yes, you can sell the game, but if you want to continue making money on a game, or if you're trying to expand your operation empire, it's not good to sell equipment, right? You don't want to sell the equipment that's earning you money, especially if it still can make you money. But yes, you could recoup your losses, right? Or not losses, but yeah, HMD. No, it is. It's a huge investment. But the thing is, it is all about location. And the really wonderful thing about pinball, especially now, is that people operate pinball because they love pinball. So I get the benefit of purchasing a Rush. I put it out for people to enjoy in my local arcade for a year or two, and maybe it pays itself off a portion, and then I get to bring it home and I get to enjoy the game at that point, right? So, but if you look at it from a purely business standpoint, it's difficult. At the $9,000, okay, oh, sorry, hold on. Now the chat's going fast. I'm ranting so much. Paul on YouTube says, oh, you guys are talking about glass shooting out? Yeah, it depends on the piece of glass. Sometimes they throw out, sometimes they never want to come out. Just got to be ready. At the $9,000 price point, why aren't bill validators more common? Well, it's up to the operator to install a bill validator. I don't think it's worth it to put a modern game out on location that takes cash that doesn't have a bill validator. Because I am more likely to have a dollar bill in my wallet than 4 quarters in my wallet, perhaps. So maybe you got to be able to capture those opportunistic sales, right? Oh, pinball, I haven't played that in 15 years. Oh, I've got $1, put it in. Now you're good to go. You captured that sale, you can play. But yeah, I mean, every game on location should have a bill validator or something. Someone mentioned one of the card systems. I forgot what it's called. TJ and I used it in Oakland a bit. Those things are great too, but also you need to teach people how to use some of these card processing systems, like credit card, Bluetooth things. PayRange. PayRange is the one we used. It requires you to download an app, fill your wallet on the app, and then find the Bluetooth signal from the game that's closest to you and say, I want to play that one, then it loads it up with credits. I mean, it works brilliantly, but things are getting more advanced in that realm. When you go to kiddie casinos or any like big redemption center, I mean, everything works on cards now, and that's the future. But it's not worth it to outfit 1 or 2 games on a location with a card system. It's expensive. The chat was moving so fast now I can't even see what people said before, but that's fine. Sorry, I'm reading, so you guys get to sit in silence now. I'm glad to chat with you guys. Thank you for being here. If you guys didn't show up, I wouldn't do this. have you ever thought about bringing pinball machines to a fair? No, that's a great idea. I have brought pinball games in previous organizations to events. There's this museum called the California Academy of Sciences in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. It's really cool. They've got like a huge rainforest room you can go into that's like 3 stories tall and has like tropical trees growing inside and snakes and tropical birds and stuff, and you can walk around this platform. They've got a massive aquarium that's underground, all sorts of science related things. But they would do these nightlife events, 21 and over, bars set up all over the place. And the Pacific Pinball Museum, we'd bring games all the time. Sometimes they'd be themed. They'd have like outer space night, and they'd open up the planetarium and we'd bring space themed games and stuff. But those are great ways to get pinball back out in the community and let people see that it still exists, whether you're promoting something or not. I mean, maybe if you have like a county fair or something and you're like, yes, I want to babysit my pinball games and let people see them, that'd be fun. I always thought it would be fun at the Alameda County Fair where I grew up. They had the collections. That was always my favorite things. You could bring like people would show off their collections of things. I've always wanted to bring like my pinball collection, but unfortunately they won't fit in a case like that big and that tall. But yeah, showing off that kind of stuff. How much are bill validators? $200? Yeah, I mean anywhere from $50 to $300 depending on if it's used or what brand. I always recommend using the MEI bill validators because they are the most reliable in my experience. It's shocking how many people go to the change machine to get change for $1 instead of using the bill validator in the machine. You got to train people. You just got to train people. The other problem is though, is like even if you try to train people, people don't listen. So if you like put signs and stuff places, people don't read. I mean, it happens to me too. I complain about it all the time. But I was just at Publix buying a sandwich, and right on the screen where you push pay, it says, "Do not enter your cell phone, just pay." Or put your phone number in the little pad. And I just immediately typed oh crap, I didn't even read the sign. And then I complain when pinball people don't read the signs I put on games. But a pinball truck, yes. Again, back to the Pacific Pinball Museum. Michael Schiess has the Lil Juju. It's a Spartan Manor, not an Airstream. It's a 50s like all aluminum travel trailer that he just chock full of pinball games, and he brings it to events, hooks it up to a generator, and there's 8 single player Gottlieb games in there, I think, and a jukebox, which is super cool. And he'd bring it to all sorts of community events. We tow it around to like street fairs and stuff like that. So yes, I have brought pinball to a fair when I was working for Michael Schiess, and it's super cool. He brought it to my wedding. When my wife and I got married, we wanted pinball there, but I didn't want to bring my own games, and I didn't want to force someone else to do it. So I had Mike bring out that, and we brought the Centaur that my wife and I fell in love playing when we were going when I take her to my work to play pinball. So kind of cool, right? I'm sorry, I forgot I don't have the mic, and now I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, can y'all hear me? I guess you still are talking to me, so I think you can hear me. This is fun. I'm glad we're having this conversation about price and pinball. Now I'm checking my phone. My friend TJ is sending me messages. I'm excited to see TJ next month at the Golden State Pinball Festival. Logan Arcade does a pop-up arcade at Riot Fest in Chicago. Yes, yeah, it was super cool. We got to see... I saw those pictures, and some of my friends that work at Stern were texting me while they were there. It's like, oh my god, I am playing pinball with Jerry Ornley from the Misfits. This is crazy. Which is super neat. So that's a great place to bring pinball for sure. Like a big music event like that. Remind people it exists. How many pinball machines can you put in a surge protector outlet? Well, it really depends on the amperage of the circuit. Most pinball games have a 8 amp fuse for their line fuse. In reality, like a 90s WPC game full of incandescent lamps will pull around 5 to 6 amps. So if you have WPC games, 90s Williams games, I do about 4. 3 or 4. I'm sorry, not 6. They pull about 4 to 5 amps. If you put LEDs in them, they draw a whole lot less current. Modern Stern games, you can put a lot more on one power outlet before you start losing like power and stuff like that. But the Jersey Jack Chicago gaming games also pull a decent amount of current. Not 5 amps because they use LEDs, but you'll notice if you were to put 4 or 5 Jersey Jack games on 120 amp circuit, they do a little bit less power here and there. You notice this at pinball shows a lot. Like when you go to a pinball show and you find things are really weak, it's usually because they have a circuit overloaded. So if you go to a pinball show and there's tons of power drops, they're doing it right. Please start over from the beginning. What beginning? I'm not starting over from the beginning. I don't know what you're talking about.
Start from the beginning.
Oh, hey, Emoto. Emoto's back.
Start from the beginning. Start from the beginning. You're not working on Elvira? What happened, man?
We started going on a tangent about setting up pinball games and pricing, and the conversation has now lasted 40 minutes, and the questions don't stop. So. We've been talking
Can you
about.
Zoom in on Kyle. Yeah.
No.
Nice.
I'm
zoom in.
Flubby and weird looking.
Space.
My car has a 110 volt outlet. I want to bring a pin to work
Alright,
one
that's
day
good.
and set it up in the
We
parking
gotta
lot.
fix the focus on it.
No, zoom out.
That's what I was thinking.
Zoom out a lot.
No. Hit on the screen. There's a focus button.
Don't listen to her. Don't listen to
Just
her.
turn it on autofocus.
I don't know if you could run a pinball game off of your 110 volt outlet in your truck or car. You might run the battery dry pretty quick. I probably wouldn't do that. I would just get a long
a
drop
touch
cord and
screen.
plug it into the
On this
office.
right
Yeah, I hear it.
here? Yeah, focus.
Sorry, I'm like sitting here like looking at the looking at the chat.
Bear with me.
Any operators ever considered placing a game in a senior living home? My girlfriend used to work at one. They were always interested in what she was doing her day-to-day life. She let them know that we play. That's really cute.
Yeah, Project Pinball's been working on that too, actually. So if you have a senior home that you want to see pinball machines in, you should contact Project Pinball Charity.
Yeah, that's a great
because
idea.
They can probably help you with that journey.
But if it's a senior living facility that you're close to, it might not focus, Aaron, because I think I have it on a set focus.
Okay.
But you can zoom it out a little bit. It's
No,
easy.
I mean, either way, it's out of focus.
Yeah.
Can you fix it, Kyle? Just put it on autofocus.
Yeah. Oh, Pinballers, rating with a party of 10. Hello. Welcome to the Kyle is Ranting show. But we're going to change the focus here really quick. Sorry. It's
Yeah, show her house if she
here, guys,
knows
you
when
get to
she
see
comes back.
another view of this
No,
room.
don't.
Come here.
Oh, God.
So hit
no.
menu,
Okay.
camera,
Oh,
and then you
God.
can go click down and you'll see focus.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Ah, that's a decent shot.
Click focus, and then you can just click auto. If you have it on manual, you have 2 things at the bottom that are like less or more, but you
Got
can
it.
just autofocus. You know, I guess.
Perfect.
And now when you hold
Roller
it-
Pinball, they don't only put EMs.
Well, what I was gonna
Into
say, like, what I was gonna say. Okay, you can switch the camera back, Emoto. What? Oh God, that was creepy. What I would say is,
Oh, yeah, that's so much better.
click the,
And then
uh,
just get off of that screen.
click
get
the
off
X.
of the menu screen.
Okay.
Or just like
or maybe just in the
click
middle of the
anywhere
screen.
else on the screen might, or it's a back
Yeah.
button. Hold on. It's been a while since I've touched that camera.
I'm hitting okay.
Is it here?
Yeah,
I
no,
like
it's
want to
on the
click it
screen.
on. Click.
You have to have my callous
You
fingers.
how the sausage is
But
made.
You know what I would
Dirty.
do? If I had a senior living facility near me, I would just put a game there. I don't even operate it. Don't take the money from the old people. Just let them play the game. It's not going to get played
No,
that
yeah,
much.
Yeah, not to operate.
Right? Well, no, but someone was asking about
Yeah,
operators
perfect.
putting games at a senior living facility, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a perfect
For
place
free.
to put a game to keep people like happy and entertained, right? Like that's a great idea. But Project Pinball, if you guys aren't aware, go check them out. But they are a charity that puts generally new pinball games into children's hospitals, as well as other places that could use the love and fun of pinball. And that's really cool to hear that like assisted living is also on that list now too. So
For sure.
interesting stuff. See, Emoto, they say that we're interesting. My favorite
Stop
show so far.
validating, yeah. Yeah.
How many of these have you watched if this is your favorite? God, I'm sorry.
One. It's okay.
Yeah, we used to have, when I worked at the Pinball Museum, I would give the tour to the senior groups that would come in. They bring the bus and a bunch of old timers would get out, and I'd give them the museum tour of the Pacific Pinball Museum and start from the history room, the electromechanical room, and then go through all of it. And that was always fun. Seeing how the sausage is made? No, we were just in a weird, decrepit building. There's nothing much to see. Senior centers could be free storage if you have a big collection. Any location I put games at is free storage. They pay me to keep my pinball games there. I guess though, like the other thing to consider too is like if you, like we would do this with offices. We had a bunch of like corporate offices that would have perpetual rented games from us. If you wanted to get a little bit of money, like, to cover your time maybe, rent a game to the senior center for $100 a month. You get $100, that covers your 1 or 2 trips to go and fix something every once in a while. They get the fun of having a game. It's relatively inexpensive. $100 a month is not much money. And that helps you out too, right? We would rent games to like, big corporate clients. I guess they wouldn't care. Cloudflare had a bunch of Pinball Pirate games. I'd go to Cloudflare all the time to fix our games over there. There was another weird like graphics production office in Berkeley that had one of our Addams families. We had a bazillion Addams families that we rented out to places because Chris owns like 8 of them. But it's fun. Those are other options too. Instead of operating, you could just rent your games per month. Instead of, and I also, moving pinball sucks, so don't like tell them that they can do that very often, but if I was renting a game to an office, I would charge like $400 or $500 for a month. If it breaks, I'll come out and fix it. I get some money. That's more than you're going to make on location in most places anyways. If they'll pay for it, that's a good way to do it.
What is the usual split to place a game? What are some of the
to place a game
splits you've seen?
Unfortunately, the modern split is 50-50, and that just isn't worth it for the operator most of the time. It's difficult because so Emoto, when you were gone, the hot topic I put down was pinball needs to cost more than $1. $1 is too little. Because if I bought a Foo Fighters Pro for $9,000 and it never broke and there was 0 split and I never had to spend any time going to do anything with it, it would take 9,000 games for you to pay it off. And then I gave people the tidbit of when, like at Texas, I checked the Foo Fighters at our booth. How packed was our booth?
It was packed the whole time.
You know how many plays those games got on average?
I know Kerry Hardy said his game got played, I think he said 465 times. He just dropped a video last night.
Okay.
Last night? I think so.
That's what I'm saying. All of our games got like
his Foo Fighters premium home. So
between like 350 to 400 and something times, right? And that's like at a packed pinball show full of people that want to play pinball, are there to play pinball, and want to play that specific game, right?
Right.
And that's not very much.
And not paying extra coin drop to pick.
Yeah, this game had like 4,000 games on it. Yeah.
And then the flip
Oh,
games
nice.
are already going back.
Yeah, well, but it's like, but that's what we're saying is like pinball is a good investment in the sense that I could go and put it out there to have it make some money, and then if I don't like it, I can sell it and basically recoup almost all my costs, which is a uniquely now thing. 6 years ago, pinball was a terrible investment in the sense that if I bought a $7,500 premium Iron Maiden, I could not sell it for $7,500 when I was done with it.
Trager.
If I bought a LE, generally you could sell an LE for what you paid for back then. Now, I could probably sell my Deadpool for exactly the MSRP when I bought it, and it has been played a ton, and it's 2-3 years old now, right? That being said, it's just a lot, right? As an operator, it is a big investment to put in with a very slow return on value, unless you have a bitchin' location. But the split, generally most places nowadays are 50-50. I will never, ever, ever go into a location and straight off the bat tell them I'll give them 50-50. Because if it turns into a bummer location, it's not worth the money or the time. Generally, if I was going to like put up a new location and they asked about a split, I mean, I'm going to try to negotiate what's best for me, because that's what really matters, right? I like to go in with a higher percentage for a few months and see how it works. If it's earning okay and I want to invest my time and my equipment into that location, then we will try to figure out how to get it somewhere closer to 50-50. Don't take advantage of people. Most people nowadays, unless they are in the sphere of coin-operated devices, don't even know that a split exists, right? People will come to me and be like, well, how much do I owe? How much do I have to pay you to put your pinball game here? Well, okay, that's not how it works. Don't take advantage of those people, because that quickly turns you into an ass. And we don't want people... Coin-operated stuff has a very bad history with people being very manipulative and ass-like, and we don't want that. We are benevolent people here to share a game, but you need to make sure it's worth your time, right? So try to negotiate something in your favor. I think a good split is honestly 60-40. You get more. The location gets enough, but I get more. At a bar where my games are, those people are making a killing off of the beer and other drinks that people are ordering while playing my games than the measly 50 cents they're going to make off of my game sitting there every time someone plays it, right? So when you consider that now, let's bring this argument all the way back, right? If I bought a Foo Fighters Premium for $9,000, which is not how much I'd actually pay for it, it would end up being more, and I put it in a location with a 50-50 split, and it never broke down, I never had to do anything with it, it would need to be played 18,000 times before I'd even break even, right? And when you consider, even at a pinball show, a game is getting 300 to 400 times in a weekend. I mean, some of my locations, even in a good location, games don't get played that much in a week, right? Your game is not the only place in those locations a lot of the time. So anyways, negotiate for yourself harder. I wouldn't put games in a location with a 50-50 split anymore. It's not worth my time. I don't have enough time to go deal with 50 cents, at a location. Laser Los, check out that drum bonus champ high score.
It appears to be a time.
Oh no. It's him.
Oh, what? He's like
You still have the high score on my Deadpool.
How did you do that?
Sorry, I'm ranting now, but
He's hacking into Insider Connected, putting his scores up. Just kidding.
50% might be a good might be a fine, split for some people, but it's, I've got a lot of stuff to do. It's just not worth it for me. Except for when I'm helping people out. Like maybe my buddy Josh is watching this right now and he's like crying because we did a 50-50 split, but it's because I love you, Josh. And I want you to have money and I want to support you. But I'm upset that one of my locations here in town is a 50-50 split. I don't like it. It's like whenever that game breaks, it makes me grumpy. Pez Johnson, what's up, dude?
Happy birthday, Pez.
Really?
Someone else said it, so I'm saying it too.
Happy birthday, dude.
Pez.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I guess if any of you people maybe are like wanting to operate games or something, and maybe there's an issue negotiating that split or something like that, remind people that people will come to your location. We're just going to use a bar because bars are the greatest places to keep games. People are going to come in to drink. They're going to see the pinball and they're going to enjoy it. And then maybe they'll buy another drink and they'll stay for a little while. But maybe also that person is going to say, damn, Rush is really cool. And I remember playing that game at this bar. They're going to come back. And they're going to come back to patronize that location because of the value that I'm adding to your location, right? So if you're ever having to negotiate, try to let them know how pinball will help them, but I need that money so I can keep bringing these things to you, right? Could you kind of quickly go over how to level a game properly? Not in 9 minutes. But we will do.
You didn't do that in the setup? That's part of setting up your new Stern Pinball
We
machine.
forgot
is
that part.
leveling it.
Me?
We went straight into complaining about plumb bobs and how to set the plumb bob and stuff like that.
Did you do that? Did you set up the plumb bob?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll do the leveling stuff next time. Let's split this a little bit up and we'll leave people wanting a little bit. But leveling a pinball game is really easy.
Next show as how to properly level your pinball machine.
Well, I'm hoping our next show is going to be Foo Fighters limited edition with Jack Danger, but it's probably not going to happen, so we'll probably have to do a little something else.
Okay, how to properly level your pinball machine.
Let's just go over pinball leveling methods, because I think a lot of people will be horrified the way I level games. I don't use tools. I don't split fractions to get 1 degree perfect. I roll a ball from the middle and watch how it rolls, and then I play the game. And if it feels good, I'm happy.
Okay, fine. Can we do that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
And actually, I know a lot of professionals that do it that way too. But can we bring out the pin jack to help us level the game?
Yes. Let's look at the pin jack, and I can show some people. There was a thread where people were like kind of roasting on the pin jack on our Facebook page, and like talking about the game slamming down because the people who make that product like showed a video of them like letting the game down and just went and that's what it will do if you just let it go. But there are ways you can use that tool
gotta hold it. Yeah.
where you can hold it and wrench it to let the game down softly. Also, when you're using the pin jack, you don't need to raise the game up like 4 feet or like 4 inches, right? You need to raise it up like a half of an inch.
Yep.
So
Pin jack tips and tricks. Defy Gravity, all of these episodes get archived on our YouTube page. So if you just go to the live tab, I believe they all end up living there under the live section. YouTube just had a weird update in their UI that separates posted videos versus live videos.
Man, yeah, that screwed me over the other day because I wanted to go and check out
20 plus episodes there.
one of our streams, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, did they all get deleted?
Gone. I know.
What
I did
happened?
That too. It was a few months ago that they changed that, and it threw me for a little loop.
Which game stinks more?
Thunderbirds or Street Fighter 2? Thunderbirds.
Street
Fighter 2 is great.
Street Fighter 2 is not great, but Thunderbirds is clearly worse. Street Fighter's not bad, but it's another fun fireside chat. Yeah, thanks for joining. Steve, I hope I see you next month.
Shell Schlock, yes. In fact, this is the correct, accurate scale of me and Cap.
No.
If I stood next to him, I'd look like this.
Yeah, we'll do some. I can't believe I forgot the leveling. I actually feel like really dumb now. We just like really jumped into something. But using the method I showed very briefly about setting the leg levelers, like sometimes you're just kind of like right there. Like if I played Rush right now, I'd probably be like, that's okay. And you just need to split the difference a teeny bit. And we'll go over that. But I want to spend a little time doing it too. I'll see if I can get a level. I don't carry a level with me most of the time because I can set up a game okay without one. It comes from doing it a bazillion times, but having a very cheap small plastic level like a 6-inch level, 8-inch level is great, but I don't carry one around with me. Okay, I see one problem with this game. One of the ramp flaps is kind of bent up just a teeny bit, and I can see it only from this angle, so might want to address.
We can work on that next week too.
Possibly. Spirit Hoon says a location where he lives in Sweden is $2 has been a standard for a long time now. Yeah, well, last time I was in Germany, I was playing €2 to play Medieval Madness, and it was €3 for 3 games though, so which was kind of crazy, but I don't know.
Both. I am both.
I level my games by putting my pub glass on the glass and making sure the beer is even to slide. Yes, that's the right way to do it. That's silly.
Down here.
Emoto's the time machine.
Yeah, watch. I'm gonna be inside the time machine. Oh sh.
Yeah, this was actually this was a very enjoyable conversation. Thank you guys for participating in the conversation because I feel like I don't know. I think that's an important thing to kind of talk about and get ready for. Like, let's loop back for another quick jump on the Sacagawea dollar too. I'm sorry, the Susan B. Anthony dollar back in the 80s. That was a push by Bally to bring the price of pinball up as well, right? Because the manufacturers have the obligation to make the operators money by making a good product. And Bally wanted to put more money in the operators' pockets by introducing a different price point to be able to play more. So, back in the, and I think my Viking is set up exactly how it would be from the factory, except for generally, I think from the factory, the Susan B. Anthony, or the dollar coin slot was in the middle, but it's one play for 1 quarter, 25 cents a game, or 5 games for $1. So it was the original super value. Yeah, you can kind of see it. See the green one there on the right? That's the Susan B. Anthony slot. There you go. Thank you, Aaron. But that was it was a big deal, right? When pricing is increased. Can you zoom out just a teeny bit? When pricing is increased, right? Like, I think pinball went to 50 cents in the mid 80s, and pinball went to $1. I don't remember when pinball really went to $1, but you can see like people kind of pushing things in a direction and then everyone accepting. So maybe just
pinball never went to $1 in Los Angeles.
Well, that's the operator's prerogative, right? At the same time, too, we have more locations in Columbia, South Carolina that charge 50 cents for pinball than $1. And that's wrong. They shouldn't be. Sorry, Josh, but it's true. But at the same, you have to value your product at the same time, too. When you artificially devalue the product of pinball by charging less money than other places, that other places, not necessarily in a locale, but overall, everywhere, that causes issue. Because that one's $1, I don't want to play that because this one was 50 cents, and that hurts everybody. Respect the value of the game. Pay $1. But the rise in price of pinball will not be... it will be a slow burn, and then we'll just be used to it. In 6 years, we'll all be totally used to scanning our phones and paying $2 for a game of pinball, and we won't remember the days when it was $1, because these things just change over time, and you'll all be used to it, and we'll all be fine. It's only $2, and pinball's still fun.
I don't know where to go.
I'm blurry again.
Oh, no. Yeah.
C&K says they remember when Gottlieb... you can go out of that. Just click on my face. Like, push the... Is it going to focus? This is why we don't use the autofocus on this crappy camera.
It's so weird.
C&K remembers Black Hole and Haunted House to be games that shot for 50 cents. Yeah, for sure. Those were very expensive games in 1980 as well. So that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, nice. Fix it.
All right, the chat's about to get cut off. I'm gonna respond to these last few things, but it is 5. Who are we gonna raid, Emoto? Can we raid Manu? Is he online?
I don't know, but are you going to be raiding shooter lanes on Discord tonight? Because I keep seeing it.
Yes, I'm gonna rate your shooter lane. Send me shooter lane pics so I can get grumpy and tell you it's a bad metric. But yes, I will be. Please send your shooter lane pics to me at Discord. That's what we're gonna do tonight. Yes, Shell Shock. I mean, coin op is going to be non-coin anymore. It will happen one day. Card-based systems are the way of the future. And card-based systems are going to be the way when pinball and other amusement devices will not be limited to $1. Because where I started off this whole conversation of 75 cents is too awkward of a price, $1.50 is also a very awkward price. Putting 8 quarters into a game is also a very awkward thing to do. But when I go get my card or my cell phone and I go boop, and that is detracted from my wallet, it's no longer a problem. And that's there's a mental block in all of this. Many beer arcades, whatever, are charging 50 cents in order to get people in the door. Yes, but that's devaluing the product. Discount your beer.
Use your Marco tokens.
Beer has such an insane markup. All liquor, mark your beers down $1. Keep your pinball the same price. That will get people in the door. I will go to a place that charges $4 for a pint of something, and still charges $1 of pinball. A lot more likely than I'd go to a place that charges 50 cents. When I see a pinball game being charged 50 cents or a location that is 50 cents, like, how well do they actually take care of those games, right? Those are the things I think about in my head. When I know how hard it is to keep a location working, when I think it's like, oh, well, they're only charging 50 cents, well, those games must not be taken care of. This is no slapping on people that charge 50 cents on their games, because some people might do that fine for 50 cents. But these are things I'm trying to, things to think about, right?
Don't judge a book by its cover, Kyle.
That is true. $1 or £1.20 for a game in the UK, normally always to pay with a bank card. Interesting.
That's also £1.20.
It's such a weird
thanks
price.
for the bits, Pez.
Some games are jumping up to $70.
Got tokens now too.
Oh, 70 cents. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing, though, $1.25 price discussion. $1.25 is. I've got to stretch.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Real Vinyl Dude said it was Dragon Slayer that brought the prices up to 50 cents.
Yeah, Dragon Slayer. Yeah, I think that is the right fact. Dragon Slayer was the first video
When that
game to
game
bring
came out.
the price up that high. And you consider in 1980 or whatever, 1983, 50 cents was enough to buy 2 Snickers. Mr. Drake Crane, thanks for calling this a fun time. I'm glad you enjoyed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, what the heck?
I'm unfocused. Marco tokens. Oh, yeah, retail like video games. Yeah, that's true too. Like, I wouldn't mind paying $80 for a feature video game that came out and was like more complete than a game that like comes out very broken for $60. If we use like a video game model or something like that, right? I mean, I think it's great now that as video gamers, we're all so used to indie games and maybe buying a game in an early access state and playing it and enjoying it and helping the developers make an experience before it hits like total release 1.0, whatever. But if you take like a game I was very excited about, like Cyberpunk, and I paid $60 for that game, and it was an absolute poop show when it came out, like that's a problem, right? Maybe if the developers would have charged $80 for it, maybe the money crunchers, the bean counters would have said they had a few more months of development time to make it a better game. Now, we don't have to worry about that so much with these games, right? The very talented designers lay out something very fun physically, and sometimes we wait for the code to mature. I think that's a neat adventure. It's not an early access thing, but people like the programmers at Stern, the people that make the games fun, they take your criticisms and the things you want to see changed, and maybe they'll implement those in the games as they mature. But yeah, I don't know. The video game price point thing is a different way to look at it, I think. How many hours of play do you get into those $70? Well, it depends on the game. If I play a game for $7, I just had, or 7 hours, I just had 7 hours of fun for $10 an hour. And there's not, I mean, if you really want to, break it down like that, what else can you do for $10 an hour, right? I mean, $10 is barely enough to buy like a meal anymore, right? Most like AAA video games are 20, 30, 40 hours worth of content if you want to stretch it out that far. I paid $60 or whatever for Red Dead Redemption, and I played that game for over 100 hours. I pay $20 for indie management strategy games, and I play them for over 100 hours. Right? It depends on how you consume or how you feel like you've gotten value for money. And I can't think of many other things I can do for $10 an hour, to have fun. I'll at least play most games for 5 to 10 hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so and then you go, if you pay $1 to play a pinball game and you have a 3-minute game, well, I mean, that's a crazy good value per money, right? So we could increase those profit margins for the people that put their bank accounts in hard times into purchasing these games and give them 50% more value of your money, and that's fine. Cyberpunk was overhyped, but it's apparently a good game now, and I'm wanting to jump back in because it's beautiful. Anyways,
I was
okay.
so excited.
Sorry, what? Are you going to play Cyberpunk?
I was going to.
That's like Harry
was
Potter
cool.
too.
Huh?
Is it expensive? I think that Harry Potter's like.
Oh yeah, the Harry Potter game is out too. That's supposed to have a bunch of content. I
Oh,
don't
is
know.
it really out? Is it out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been out.
Yeah, a couple months ago, I think. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to look at this last comment.
Octopath Traveler.
Is Manu online? Do we have a raid target?
Yes, I've been watching. Manu is going to play.
Good choice. I'm probably going to play ours before I go too.
It's loading up.
Tuned in too
Thanks,
late.
y'all, for the great show.
I think this is a discussion that is important. I recently took away the
I'm
super
hiding.
value on my pins. They are $1 a play for modern pins, still charging $50 for getaway. Thanks for putting these perspectives out to the people. Hey, cheers. Thanks for joining in. I don't know how I feel about taking away the super value, but charging $1 is still that's fine. I think older games, like some of those older DMD games, like 90s games, I mean 50 cents is fair, right? I mean, I'd much rather spend $1 to play Rush or James Bond or the Foo Fighters than $1 to play Twilight Zone. I've played that game so many times, it's like I probably wouldn't even play it.
What code it is?
But anyways,
What code is this?
that was good. Emoto is hiding under Elvira, yes. Thank you guys for joining. We're going to raid Manu, I guess, so. Put more money into a game that has super value. Dude, even if I'm playing solo, I'll usually play... I mean, what about you, Aaron? Do you do the super value
I
more?
always do $2.
I mean, I'll always do a super value game instead of a single game. Because... like if this Rush was at a brewery and I was going to go play it, I would probably do a super value in the sense that my first game, I play it and see like, okay, how does this thing play? Okay, well, it's leaning a little to the left or the right. I'm going to compensate for that. My second game, I'm going to play to, enjoy. And then my third game, maybe I'll go for score. Maybe try to get that replay or something like that. I'll always do a super value. And especially if I'm playing with another person or I'm out with my wife or something, like... yeah, it's a no-brainer. Got that third player split flip, you know?
That's what I do.
But the super value works, right? Williams did the reverse problem. Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. Williams did the worst thing they could do and do the buy-in, right? Those 90s games where you could pay a credit or pay a half credit to buy another ball. That was the worst thing they could ever do because people paid their way to the end of the game and then people didn't want to play it anymore because they saw everything that Star Trek Next Gen could do. They saw everything they could do in Twilight Zone by buying that extra ball.
Indy 500?
Indy 500 did it too. That was around the time when they stopped doing the buy-in because they realized that games would earn extremely well right on arrival. Games would earn tons and tons and tons and tons and tons, and they would never have legs because the players would see everything they needed to see by being able to buy another ball. So, thankfully, Stern doesn't do that, or Jersey Jack, or anyone who makes pinball. I think Baywatch has buy-in, doesn't it? Ada East did it for a while.
I don't think so.
Yep, extra ball buy-in.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. I always turn that off too because it annoys me when I might end a game and it's like, do you want to buy an extra ball? Like, no, get out of here. Okay, Emoto really wants us to end. Thank you, everyone. This was fun. I'm glad you enjoyed the rants and whatever you would call what we just did. Hopefully, we all learned something by kind of messing with this a little.
Yeah,
Hopefully-
next week we're gonna level the game.
Yes,
and
we'll do some quick leveling and stuff, and maybe we'll work on the Elvira a little more. Maybe it'll be a little more done. I don't know how much time I'll have to work on it in weekends. I'm going to
Yeah.
Savannah next weekend. That's going to be fun. I get to work on a bunch of games in the arcade that are all destroyed, and we'll see how
yeah,
that
good.
turns out.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you all so much. Thanks for all the great comments. And stick around if you're on Twitch because we are going to head to Free Gold Watch, one of the coolest places to play pinball in the Bay Area in San Francisco, California.
Hell yeah.
And checking out 007 Pinball with Manu on Mystery Pinball Theater 3000. So
Yep.
we'll see y'all next week, and drop a bunch of cow emotes into that chat.
Yeah,
So
freak Manu out.
know
Look how
what-
crazy I look. Look how poofy my hair is. I didn't realize how dumb I looked.
You're really poofy. You don't look dumb, you just look poofy.
All right, thanks everyone. That was fun.
All right, see